going on, y'all? Today's video, I want to talk about anger management. Not necessarily the program, more so self things you could do on your own to kind of regulate your anger. Because I find myself getting angry a lot. I'm a quiet person. I internalize everything. So when I get mad, I don't necessarily show it to everybody. It's more internally what I'm going through. Working at the group home, having to deal with a lot of these unruly kids. These kids could really work your nerve and just. Thank God I put my 2 weeks in. I only got a few days left. It's Tuesday right now. By Saturday, I'm going forever, and I ain't never coming back. They asked me if I want to stay on part time. I was fuck no. But anyway, I'm out chasing my passion, so that's neither here nor there. But I really just found myself at times just ready to just beat the shit out of one of these kids, and I start thinking like, man, I'm like, man, if I catch them right over by the stairs where there's no cameras, nobody will even see it, And I feel like once you start thinking like that, it's time to make your move. I've already been in trouble I've had investigations against me for fucking showing aggression towards the clients in the past. So, I mean, I thought I had moving past that stage, but when you find yourself back into a place where it's like, gee, I really want to just knock this motherfucker out right now for being a fucking asshole, that's when it's time to move on. So, I've already took steps to move on, almost out the door. How many shifts I got left? I got one tomorrow, one Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I got like four shifts left. Two of them are third shift. Matter of fact, I think I took another one because I got some overtime. I think the majority of them are third shifts. So the kids are sleeping, so you ain't got to worry about me killing any of them. And I had to check myself a bunch of different times like, yo, why should I let this asshole, or I shouldn't say he's an asshole. These guys are kids with issues. But he's being an asshole. They're being assholes in the moment. That's kind of the thing that confuses me about this generation. They'll be an asshole one minute and try to be your best friend the next minute. And that's just the weirdest thing in the world to me. I've had clients say, oh, you shouldn't hold grudges. That's almost like me smacking somebody in the face and saying, hey, you shouldn't hold a grudge. I told him, I was like, listen, people are human. And if someone's constantly messing with you and fucking with you intentionally, it's not like, oh, you're having a bad day because of something. It was that, but it was just like you're displacing your anger on me. It might be the next day. It might be a couple hours later. In some cases, they want to turn around and be your best friend and ask you for stuff. Hey, can you take me over here? Can you do this for me? I'm looking at this guy like, are you serious? Like, you can't be serious right now. This shit is crazy, having to deal with these guys. That's why I figured it was time to leave. Not only that, obviously, I'm doing this now. I'm doing this whole internet, social media thing. I'm rapping. I'm on my artistic shit right now. I mean, that's the real reason I left. But also, I just find myself just, a lot of the stuff that they're doing before is just extremely irking me. Like, it's really irking me to the point where I'm gritting my teeth, I'm balling my fists up, and I'm just like, it's definitely time to get out of here. Because if I end up beating on one of these kids, I'm fucking up my own situation. Because if I do get fired for harming one of these kids, I'll never be able to work with kids again. I'll never be able to do anything, with kids. And that would be a travesty because I pretty much done a lot of mentoring my whole life. And the older you get, the more you realize you have something to share with the younger generation. So if you can't be around kids because you done did some dumb shit because some misguided kid in a group home, you definitely don't want that blemish. And a lot of the staff talk about just fucking the kids up and getting a new job. But I feel like there might be some type of charges pressed on you. I don't feel like you're just going to walk away out of there just getting fired. So it's really just not worth it. A lot of these guys just aren't worth it. A lot of the stuff I see them do, as much as it just irks me, and it really does irk me. I always appear like the guy who's cool, calm, and collected. But deep down in surface, I'm like, man, if this motherfucker says one more thing to me, it's going to be, I'm going to be on him. Pause. And with me, I feel like because I hold things in so much, if I were to flip out, I'm going to really flip out. I'm going to really cause some damage. So sometimes it seems like there's no cap to my anger. I definitely don't want to be the guy beating up on kids. That's not cool. They are at the end of the day, they are still teenagers. There's grown man strength, then there's teenager strength. It's not cool. The same way it's not cool to beat up on women, it's not cool to beat up on kids. So I've had to check myself a bunch of different times and tell myself, listen, they're not worth it. See if I could switch floors with another staff just to kind of cool down a little bit. Maybe not take shifts over there anymore. And eventually now I just decided this ain't the job for me. I always knew it wasn't the job for me. I never planned on staying this long. Here I am 5 years later, still getting mad at the I don't get mad at every little thing, but some things just, man, some things, again, we humans, so some things are just going to get to us. You got to learn to avoid situations that get you angry. Maya Angelou said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude about it. So I can't change these kids' background. I can't change the fact that they're in the group home, and I can't change. It's not like I can get them out of there on my word. Or, I can't change who they are. So I have to change my attitude about the things that they do. That's pretty much how I've been trying to dealing with these situations and not getting overly emotional about them. Realizing that it's mostly just displaced anger from a misguided kid. A lot of times they're really mad at themselves because they're the ones who caused themselves to be in there. But most people, they're not gonna look at themselves and say, I'm the one to blame. I should be mad at myself. That anger is going towards somebody else. In a lot of instances, it's gonna be towards the staff. Sometimes it was to the other clients. Then you got a whole nother situation on your hands. You just have to understand violence solves nothing. Violence solves nothing. Being angry the whole day solves nothing. You being angry and deciding that you're gonna be as much of a jerk to him as he was to you, that solves nothing as well. We did a lot of, whatchamacallit, we took almost like a lot of psychology classes almost. The group home will make us take these, I forgot what it was called. I don't know. They brought in some like psychologists to come and give us different strategies on how to deal with these kids. And, we will do a lot of like role playing to kind of deal with it. But, I find that definitely helped. I don't remember every single thing they taught us, but basically talk your way. You're supposed to allow the client to express themselves like, hey, what's going on right now? Why are you upset? What's going on? Let them get whatever it is they need to get out. Try to deal with it from that perspective instead of taking it personal and saying, oh, they're just trying to make my day hard, or they're trying to make my shift hard, or whatever the case may be. Because again, a lot of times, most of the time, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with anyone in the group home. They just are upset that they have to live there. They want to go home. I couldn't imagine living in a group home. All these strange people, got to go to all these therapy sessions and do all these different things that I don't want to do. Most of the time, you can't do what you want to do because somebody got this appointment, somebody got that appointment, and you have to go along for the ride because it's a lot. So their anger is definitely, it's understandable. Also, your anger, that's also understandable, but you're the adult in the situation. They're the child. If cops are called and you put your hands on a kid, they're going to look at you. It don't matter what they did. They're going to look at you like, what the hell is wrong with you? Who's the child in the situation? You can't react aggressively towards a kid. They're kids. They're going to piss you off. That's what they do. That's what they're here for. But at the same time, they're going to grow up. And I've been in situations where there was this one guy, he used to just piss me off all the time. I mean, all the staff hated this guy. He eventually he didn't even last in the program. He was doing so bad, they eventually took him out and put him somewhere else in a more, like a stricter program where he didn't have a lot of the same freedoms he had. And I think that's when it clicked to him that he was fucking up. And he actually ended up calling one night. And I picked up the phone. He's like, hey, you remember me? I was like, yeah. And he's telling me, man, I just been through so much. I've been through, after I left there, I went to this other program. I was going through a lot. I'm sorry. He apologized for all the things he did while he was there. I mean, this might have been close to a year later. He was just getting out of the last program. He finally was in a good place. Went to like a foster home. Was about to get a job. Was going to school. Just in a great place. And he called to apologize. Like, man, I was just going through so much of time. I took it out on you guys, and I genuinely am sorry, and can you please pass it on to the other staff who was there? Tell them that I'm sorry for the way I acted. I'm so embarrassed about. I was blown away. I was like, wow. He showed me a level of maturity in that phone call that he never showed while he was there. I wouldn't even have believed it was the same person, if I wouldn't have heard the voice. I mean, don't let their misguided anger misguide your anger. That phone call really like affected me. I was like, wow, this guy, I can't believe this is the same person. This is crazy. I realized a lot of the things we were doing in the group home really did help. A lot of these kids, they act like they hate being there, but as soon as, they'll be there for a while, a couple of years or so, right when it's time for them to leave, I found out a lot of them don't want to go. And some of them, they'll come back and visit to say hi, or just, they're so used to being there, they just miss the place. I'm like, man, these guys are crazy. When they're here, I want to go home. I don't want to be here. As soon as it's time for you to leave, I'm like, man, I really have to go. I have to go be on my own and have my own apartment. Like, isn't that what you wanted? Freedom? You want to do what you want to do and live your life? And they're like, yeah, but man, it just came so fast. I'm just like, man, that's how I knew that we was making a difference in people's lives. Don't let a temporary situation, because they're all temporary, especially with these kids. Like I said, they'll do something today, try to be your best friend the next day. So don't overreact to temporary outbursts or their temporary bouts of anger. Their temporary. I feel like anybody can be everyone deserves a second chance. And in these group homes, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, you know, I feel like you'll break through eventually. You got to manage your anger. Mostly, the main thing you could do is just never take anything personally. You know, always. He doesn't mean that. It's like maybe you gotta say it to yourself, literally. They don't mean that. They're just mad about this situation. They're mad because their parent isn't calling them anymore. They're mad because their social worker isn't allowing their favorite uncle to call them. They're mad because there's so many different reasons what they're mad about, and they're just gonna take it out on you just to get it out of their system, I guess. That's just what it is working in the group homes. I mean, there's a lot of anger going around, but you got to learn how to deal with it. You can't react in negative ways, and don't hold the anger either. Holding on to the anger, it only affects the person who's holding on to it. It doesn't affect the person who's made you mad. Energy is never lost or transferred. Excuse me, it's never lost or dies. It just transfers from one party to the next. Their anger that they was feeling from whatever situation, they transferred it to you. Now you're mad. They're walking around. They're walking around scot-free, smiling, chilling, and then now you're angry. You take that to your home. You make your partner angry. Now they're angry, and then it just goes on from there. So don't let all that negativity into your life. Just understand that whatever they're saying, whatever they're doing, is because of something. So try to get to the root of that something, and you'll usually find that it always dissipates. And then you'll see a whole different kid. Just my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.